Welcome to Champ Talk with Branden Hudson. We are back with another episode. This episode is brought to you by Pintail Property Services. Holler at Pintail for all of your, actually they do a lot of stuff. They do landscaping, they do fencing,
construction.
They do a little bit of everything.
They got a construction thing going.
They do it all, man. They do it all. So give them guys a shout, man. Alex Tangle's been a good friend of mine, been on the show, and he's takes a lot of pride in quality in his work.
All those projects you've had waiting, said I'm going to do it in the spring. Well, they'll do it for you.
That's absolutely right.
Fences, decks, whatever.
All of it. This episode is brought to you by Pintail. I said that already. Chet fucked me up because of my introduction, because he always does that. It's fucked up Chet here today. He's always messing with me. You know what I mean? I don't know why he keeps showing up. I tell him, don't show up to the podcast. Well, guess what he does? He shows up anyway. And I'm like, Chet, we don't need you today. He's like, no, I'm on today. And because he is a skilled martial artist, I can't argue with that. So welcome back, Chet.
But I think it's because I sit there and give you the puppy dog eyes. I'm sitting out in the rain going, can I just do the podcast again?
No, that's because you wrist locked me. That's why.
One more time.
Guys, like always, we always ask this. Like and subscribe to the episode, please. We're on all platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Check us out. Apple, Spotify. Man, we would love to get you to hear feedback from you. Man, a review goes very far for us. You know, we appreciate everybody that listens, everybody that gives us a review. It does mean the world. We give all this content away for free. We don't ask for anything. I mean, we do have sponsors, but it's really just all about, them getting their business out more than us, getting an income. But we do want to continue to provide you guys with feedback. That's our commitment to you guys. And again, a little like and subscribe button goes a long way.
But hey, if you want to be a sponsor, give us a shout too. It'd be cool.
Yeah, give us a shout. What's up?
What's up with you?
What's going on?
It's just a little soggy.
Yeah. Back here on the Eastern Shore, it's like most America. It's raining its ass off right now.
Soggy Monday.
Gosh, man, I went down to Texas this past week, and it was just like the same thing. I was just beat the tornadoes that ran, unfortunately, through I think Arkansas and
Texas Twisters,
Tennessee or something like that.
Yeah, it was all over the place.
And my heart goes out to the victims and to the houses that were devastated by that. That sucked. And we got down to Frisco, Texas. Actually, that's just made headline news, by the way, which is a whole other topic. And then it rained the whole time. So as it rained down there and had severe weather warnings and stuff like that, I ended up coming back home. And when I came back home, it was we got rerouted. We got delayed, rerouted, and then we got rerouted to Tennessee. And as we're sitting in the runway, about to take off, we get the alerts on our phones. The
tornado warning.
Oh my gosh! I'm looking out there to the other side of the wind. Other side of the window. I'm like, it looks real tornado-ish out there. So we outran that, and I came home and I got a little bit of nice weather yesterday, and back with the rain.
That was beautiful, for most of the weekend. And then this morning, wake up, it's like, okay, back to this.
And it was freezing in Texas, so I've been just cold everywhere I go. You know what I mean? But it's all good. It's springtime, April showers.
Hear the drops on the tin roof right now.
Yeah.
Here.
Yep. Speaking of Frisco, I mean, a little bit of a touchy subject, but when we got down there, unfortunately, there was an awful, horrendous event, and it's starting to make headline news. And basically, there was a 17-year-old football star that was stabbed by another student and killed, and died in his twin brother's arms. That
sucks. I stayed away from the news this weekend. Just was busy, but
yep. If you guys haven't heard about it, it's starting to go around, and why it's starting to go around. It was a track meet stabbing. Basically, Alston Metcalf, a 17-year-old 11th grader, Frisco Memorial High School, was, stabbed by a student named Carmelo Anthony. And, of course, mainstream media's got a hold of it. And, now it's a race thing, and it's a, white and black thing. And then, it goes on to, they got protesters down there and stuff like that. I mean, it's crazy, like what's this turned into. Now it was the kid was a, bully. The kid was a, racist and all that, which, I don't know if it's true. I don't speculate to be true, but if that is true, regardless, two families are now victimized, and two families are going through hell because one lost a son and the other, is, going through the tragedy of
Go
stabbing.
away for a long time too.
If you just strip down if you take the white and black out of it, the race out of it, and you just say the two names of the kids and say what happened, that one of them stabbed another one, that's about as meat and potatoes as you get. Regardless of any kind of victimization you go under, you know what I mean? You don't have the right to kill people. You know what I mean? Like now let me be clear on that. I'm now not whatever victimizing. If you obviously are defending for your life or your kids or your family or something like that, that's
self-defense is a little different.
But bullying and all that stuff doesn't equate to a stabbing, and it just mind boggles me and just shocks me so much to how a tragedy like that can just be brought to headline news and made and spun some other kind of way. You know what I mean? It's really profound, man. It's kind of similar to like the college protests that are happening around the country on certain college campuses, and the students that go to the college campuses or get interviewed, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm all for protesting, but that guy doesn't go to our school and he's protesting, and that person I've never seen before and they're protesting." Right. It's like, what are we doing, America? What are we doing? But anywho, our hearts and condolences go out to the families of both the the victim and the accused who did the stabbing. Man, it's just awful, man. That stuff just it's never good. It's similar to and I'm going to talk about it, similar to something we had here locally that happened that I haven't spoken much on, what I mean, but the Justice for Gavin whole talk and stuff like that, man. Another tragedy. For you guys that haven't listened, Gavin was struck and killed walking home one night or walking somewhere one night. I don't know all the details, and I'm not going to try to interject it. And the it was a hit and run, and the person who had killed Gavin, made a horrible decision and left the scene, and then it just turned into this huge social media, guilty by social media first, and then the family gets dragged into it and all the stuff. I mean, I know both of the families, and a lot of people that got on social media said a lot of dumb shit that.
Well, they always do.
The dude, I mean, it's just so crazy. But these are local people, so it's like we know where you live, we know where you're at, we know where you work. Like people can go, and it's crazy because what I mean. In my opinion, and again, this is my opinion. The people who have the right to say the awful, just disgusting comments would only be the victims' families, because we can't put our feet in their shoes, and they're hurting and they're going through it, so they're gonna show the pain that they show, and to bring other people's to talk. Like, I mean, people said shit that was so disgusting that I know have skeletons of their own, that I know have some shit on them that they would say. And it was just so awful, man, so disgusting. It made me sick as a community. Both parents and both families had major tragedy. And, I think that grace is always a good thing in times like these, and just prayers. And, let the families who are the victims, let them heal the way they need to heal, and let them go through what they need to go. And if they're angry and they're mad, they're mad and they're angry. They get the right to do that because they're hurting. But, for a lot of you guys and gals out there that decided to sling mud about shit you didn't even have facts on, or just shit that you wanted to jump on the train, shame on you, man. Shame on you motherfuckers out there that decided that you were going to act that way. Listen, man, and here's my stance. And again, my heart goes out to both families. I'm not saying anybody, what happened is wrong and it's horrible and it's god awful. And I pray nobody has to go through that. I'm sorry, so sorry for the family, the Canuck family that's going through that. At the same time, if that happened to one of us, we'd want justice to be served, and we want justice to be served at the highest level. And if it was our child that did that, we wouldn't want to lose our child for the rest of our lives. You know what I mean? And that's how most of these people that said that, and again, I'm not talking about the families, but most of these people said that shit. They were like, oh yeah, just awful stuff. I'm not even gonna repeat it on air, but just awful stuff, knowing damn well they would have done even worse if it was their kid in that situation. You know, and that's the hypocrisy and the bullshit. So,
Yeah. But it's it's 2025 and everybody has a voice. Either, I mean, whether you want them to or not, there's social media. It's social media for a reason. So here we are.
yep, I agree. So social media gives people that don't deserve a voice. They haven't earned nothing to build on. Just like 20-year-olds and blue belts. They don't deserve to say anything either. They don't deserve to say anything either. I'm sorry. You know, 20-year-old in your 20s, blue belts, shut the fuck up. Like, shut the fuck up. What have you built? What have you done? What have you earned, right? You know, so that's my stance on it, and cancel me as you will. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? I'm not, you know, I think everybody has rights, but, you know, when we were 20 years old, we were told to shut the fuck up, learn, build something. And then, you know, once you've done that and you failed, you've been through trial by fire, then you can come have a seat at the table and get to say, other than that, prove your worth. And instead, I've made the mistake of many times letting 20-year-olds, you know, and I say 20s, all your 20s and early 30s, you know, scream, cry, talk, bitch, moan, complain, and all that. Blue belts, you know, in jiu-jitsu, all that. And like, what have you done? And then you know what? You gave them the voice and they quit anyway. They don't, like, who the fuck are y'all?
What do you got to say now?
Yeah, it's a bunch of quitters. You know what I mean? Bunch of fucking quitters. I did not want to get canceled today. You know, I'm working hard not to get canceled today, but maybe I'm not working that hard, and potentially I may get canceled today because it is what it is, bro.
There's always that chance.
It is what it is, baby.
But is there a new like U.S. agency of cancellation or something? I haven't heard. Who's canceling? Who's canceling?
Bro, do you hear the words that are being said again? Like they're saying all the words again now.
Who's
like,
canceling who? I don't know.
I don't know what's up.
You
man.
don't like it, don't listen. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. It is what it is. I saw punk rock Chet this weekend. Boy, you were all punk rocked out, weren't you?
I was having fun.
I didn't even recognize you. Why
No,
don't you dress like that normally?
That is normally.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah. I have to dress like this to come to the gym and the real estate office. You know,
Yeah, I feel
there's
you.
certain expectations.
I mean, you can still put on them Chuck Taylors and run around with them Converses, and
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, I've done that for 50 years.
Do
so.
it 50 more, motherfucker.
if we're lucky, right? No, that's fun, man. You know, good thing to see the kids. The kids are still doing it.
Yeah. That was, dude. Saturday night downtown Salisbury was a vibe,
dude. It was hot. Man.
It was a vibe. Like it looked like a city.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, where in this?
There's so much going on in all the different spots down there. New places opening up.
Yeah.
It was just nice weather too.
Yeah. We went out to Bury Tavern,
out.
and that's where I saw you. You know, over at you were at the skate shop, and Roadie's was packed. Roadie Joe's was packed. Bury Tavern was packed. Looked like Brick Room had people coming out of it.
They had a special event down there.
You had people down the way on Mojo's. You know, I think Market Street was jumping. You know, you had a little bit of
It was like 5 freaking tattoo shops
down
there now,
and
too.
all the tattoo people were out and about. They were walking around, you know, doing their thing. It was. I mean, we see some creatures. We see a little bit of everybody, man. We seen some creatures out there. We seen some.
I think there was even a baby shower because I saw some guys carrying in boxes of Pampers and stuff to the city center or whatever it's called. Yeah,
dude, it was jumping.
Yeah.
I was like, "What in the fuck is going on here?" So, are we back? We back?
It felt like it,
bro. I'm about to go get some jorts. I'm about to go get some jorts and a jean jacket and some fucking rainbow color, the rainbow lens. Ray-Bans, you know what I mean? And go get a fucking mullet, dog. What are they called?
I said the wraps. Like
the wraps,
the
yeah.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great, man. Good to see it down at Mogan's was popping. They had people in there. I mean, everybody, it was jamming. I mean, I just got back into town, and my wife and I just rode down there to check it out, and it was like, wow, like.
And that, unfortunately, well, whatever. It reminds me also of seeing some things again back to social media over the weekend. You know, like the local groups, like Salisbury, Maryland locals, or whatever.
Nope. I'm not a part of any of them.
There's all these groups, and it's like there's people moving here, and it's like, you know, asking, you know, very basic questions. And a couple times I've put on in there too, my response was like, get ready for all the, you know, the negativity and hate. I said, unfortunately, whatever it is with these groups. And the funny thing is, most of these people don't go do anything. They don't. It's like, everything you post is how much you hate Salisbury, how much it sucks since Little Baltimore and all that. Have you been to Baltimore? It's not Little Baltimore.
No.
Go to Baltimore. It's like these people that you're miserable here. Like, why are you still here then? Fucking move. Like, do something different. And downtown, it's just, it's dangerous. And I was like, yeah, danger lurks everywhere, whatever. But
they're the same people that don't go. They say don't go out of the country because they'll kidnap you, and it's like
it's just wild though. It's like all this like negative stuff. But then you're downtown, Saturday night, and it's like, this is so fucking cool.
I mean, it was 9:00. We got down there, and I mean, the foot traffic was heavy.
And all kinds of people doing different things, different places, and it was like
people were everywhere doing different things.
Very cool.
Smelled a lot of weed down there. You did smell a lot of weed down there.
I couldn't smell it.
Oh my gosh, dude! I freaking love the smell of marijuana. I don't smoke it anymore, man. But man, you know what I mean? Like just the smell, like oh, let me get back in the game. But no, I'm kidding. But it's just so crazy to me now, right? Like I know, like California and other places have had weed legalized for so long, are used to it. But for me, it's just like, as you walk by, I can't help but have that instinctual thought, or like when I'm driving my car, I'm like, you know what I mean? Oh shit, they're smoking weed like that, right? Like, ooh, who's in trouble? Like that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
Smell it all down 13.
Yeah, you can, dude. Look. Now I understand why I got pulled over so much back in the day, because I mean, you can smell it everywhere, dude. It's crazy, man. But yeah, no.
I still worry about like I don't drink. I haven't drank in like 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't have any. There's no weapons in the there's no reason. Like if I got pulled over, anything would go sideways, right? And still, yet when I drive and I get a cop behind me, I'm like
nervous as hell.
Like, why am I? Like, I probably know the cop behind me anyway. And like, why am I so? It's just like this ingrained thing from.
I know. I mean, as soon as I get pulled over, the first thing I'm thinking is run. Right, just run, get out of here. You know what I mean? I'm like, no. I'm a civilian now. I'm not in the.
Why are you
anymore.
Running?
Yeah, it was good to see downtown popping, man, in downtown Salisbury. So, and I encourage more folks to get out and go see the things, support the things. They've got a Hops on the River thing this weekend, this Saturday.
Yeah, there's always something going on somewhere.
So that's cool. It's good stuff, man. We need more of that, especially in Salisbury. We don't get a lot of that. And it's warming up. Everybody's been cooped up in their house. Mm-hmm. They're ready to get outside. They're ready to meet some people. We need some walking around money. You know what I mean? Let me walk around. Give me some walking around money. I'm trying to go see the city, and enjoy ourselves. And Ocean City is right around the corner. So it's pretty cool. It's funny because anytime I'm out of town or anywhere, I'm like, people ask me where I'm from. I'm like, I'm from Maryland. You know what I mean? Or if they're closer, I'll tell them Ocean City, because not many people really understand Salisbury. But yeah, I'll be like, yeah, I'm from Maryland. And they'll be like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, it's not Baltimore or the DC area or Annapolis, right? We're more beach people than city people, right? We got that big body of water called the Chesapeake Bay, and we're on the other side. So nothing against Baltimore or Annapolis, but it's two different worlds. You know what I mean? It's like completely
like Salisbury. Like, where's that? Like, that place you drive through that smells like chickens on the way to the beach?
Oh yeah,
that's Salisbury. Yeah.
That's so old. It's not that bad anymore.
No, it's not that bad, but that's still how
I do remember it in the summertime. You're right, though. I do remember going to Ocean City in the summertime, and it's smelling like chicken shit, boy. Remember when our old Governor William Donald Schaefer,
that resurfaced recently too? Did you see that?
No, but I never forget it, because I was like in 6th grade, and he said that the
quote popped up again.
He said the Eastern Shore was the outhouse of Maryland. Like, Jesus, tell us where your redheaded stepchild without telling us where your redheaded stepchild. But man, that was it's just crazy how far along we've come as a society.
Or not.
Yeah, man, it's good. It's good. Blue belts, man. We got to get on them, man. Blue belts are something, man. But yeah, as a gym owner, you know what I mean? I've certainly made so many mistakes. I want to be diplomatic. I want to give everybody a chance. I always tell people, like, with our gym, it's personal development.
Right.
We're just using combat sports as a vessel. You know what I mean? And people don't really understand basically what we've got going on over here as much, like when I talk to people like in other states and other areas, because most of your gyms have that that studio feel, that garage type, feel, like, the downstairs, the basement, things like that, right? And I'm not discrediting any gym by no means, but
there are certain molds kind of for for each scenario, I guess.
Correct.
There's, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the way that you I mean, there's not a big profit margin in the MMA space, and it's not like you have New Year's resolutioners left and right on January 1st coming in wanting to hey, the thing I want to do to change my life is choke another man out or get choked out or sweat in your mouth.
Yeah, for every 5,000 people you got that are willing to come in and get on a treadmill, you've got probably 5 that are willing to get maybe punched in the face or wrestle around with sweaty people.
Absolutely. So I could understand that going to a like a industrial park, going to a studio, going to that kind of space is definitely something that I understand and get really well and totally get it. You know what I mean? I happen to be blessed to have an ability to market the fuck out of myself and get people bought in and get people down. We deliver a great product. And what blessed me is I was able to broker a deal with, Pure Family Fitness, which is, for those that don't know and are listening in the UK, it's a 75,000 square foot box gym that's similar to like the Bally's LA Fitness model, right? And what that does is we have around 10,000 square feet, which is a very large gym, large studio, large garage, whatever you want to say. And we're in a multi-million-dollar club, so we have a little bit, and we're not the only model out here. There's plenty of models that are across the country, but we have a great model where not only do we get to have the ability to have our gym here in a nice air conditioned, heated, facility. We also have, the piggyback benefits of being able to utilize Pure Fitness to create the superior athlete, to have a gym where you don't have to go to 2 different gym members to 2 different places,
everything in one.
sauna and the other things that just kind of set us apart from a lot of other places. So our model is different. When we peaked with the amount of members we had, just over 400 before. That was like our record. We had, some stuff happen. So we're hovering right around 350, give or take 375. And
it's always a weird call too with it being a college town too. You've got that attrition and sports and kids sports, right. And it's just you're always battling attrition in any gym, but our retention rate does very well. But again, having Pure Fitness here and being a part of that, and then building our brand with their brand, it's a good vibe. And I made a mistake, early on with kind of given too much. I don't know how to phrase this, but kind of given too much to people that haven't really earned it yet, right? And what I mean is like. And why, I said blue belts and 20-year-olds, you know what I mean? Again, I'm not going at every blue belt and 20-year-old. I'm just saying majority of your blue belts, your 20-year-olds, you know what I mean, have this, especially when it's combined, have this mentality that, they know how the world works, right? And they're hopped up on emotions. They're hopped up on feelings. Very excited.
Very excited, very passionate, and they want to change everything. But again, motherfucker, you haven't built nothing. You haven't done anything. You know what I mean? Great that you got a blue belt. Great that you're, working on yourself and becoming somebody. But again, jiu-jitsu is one of those things. Combat sports is one of those things.
Some of the magic happens when people have that, kind of that excitement, and they channel it correctly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
Very constructively and use it to put the time and keep that energy going. And come out the other side of that a couple of years later, having at least on the pathway to building something.
The ones that stick with it, the ones that, and I'm not just talking about like combat sports, but just like the mindset of saying, "Hey, I don't know shit. These other guys and gals have been doing things way longer than me, whether it be in business, whether it be in the gym, whether it be in jiu-jitsu, whether it be
agents and stuff too,
whether it be anywhere, right? I don't know shit. I just need to shut the fuck up and do the work, and then come back so that, hey, look what I did, look what I gave, and look what I earned. What do you think about this? This is working for me. Not, hey, we should change the way things are done because I think that I seen it on Instagram one time and I think it makes sense, and we're just going to now implement a new way of doing it. Or, hey, this really makes me feel some type of way, so I want to make it. I don't want to do it differently because my feelings matter. And I mean, Jesus Lord. 2025 is like, fuck your feelings, dude. Like, fuck your fucking feelings. Just because you feel something doesn't necessarily mean it's facts. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not saying feelings don't matter and people should be silenced and all that shit. Please don't misunderstand me, because you know, a couple of my haters might, you know, hit me with a little sound bite, like, oh yeah, he says nobody's feelings matter. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that just because you feel some type of way does not mean that you're correct, that there's facts, and that means we need to switch things up. Like, process your feelings, sit with your feelings, deal with your feelings. Jumping from every little feeling that you have, every moment something switches up, you're not building any kind of grit or any kind of sustainability. You know what I mean? And you see that in the combat sports world because we're so close quarters with one another. This is a very emotional, I don't want to say intimate, but you know, you're involved in people's space. You're bonding with people. You're bleeding. You're sweating. You're crying. You're doing all the things. You're winning. You're losing.
And you can't deny the way somebody feels. That's their feelings. But at the same time, a good question to ask yourself is, why do I feel that way?
Correct.
You know, and what do you do?
Or what's making me feel this way, right? What's the cause? Okay. Well, I don't like the way that coach runs his class. Okay, cool. So how many classes have you taken? Well, I've taken 50. Great. 50 classes? What's that? Three in if you take 3 classes a week, right? How many is that? You know what I mean? 20 weeks? Almost 6 months if you do on average, right? Okay, great. You've done 6 months of jiu-jitsu. Congratulations, Johnny. You know what I mean? you don't like the way coach does class? Good. Me neither. Keep going. You know what I mean? Shut the fuck up, right? And but I think that you have to also, as a gym owner and a culture creator and a culture protector, I think also you have to be able to deliver that message in a way that is conducive so that the member doesn't feel like you're just completely shutting them out.
Right.
Because that's a big thing too, is I've seen gym owners where it's my way, the highway, shut the fuck up. Which again, there are some rights to that. You know, the gym owner did earn the time in. They do take the risk. They do spend the money. They do put the hours in. Yes, correct. At the same time, we don't have to just destroy people because, you know, that's the way we feel. So little tidbit thing that works for us here is, you know, we give everybody an opportunity to, you know, open up, share their concerns, share what works, share what doesn't. And we really push our guys and gals to say, hey, look, if you got a problem, you got an issue, you know, don't be afraid of what's to come. Just come to us, speak to us, talk to us. Don't start chattering amongst the gym, right? Because that's how those cancers grow. You know what I mean?
And I've seen it several times in different places, and you just have to figure it out and kind of nip that for sure.
Well, you got to empower the people to be able to speak up. You know, you got to empower the people to say that this is and I hate saying this word, but this is a safe space, right? Where you can, you know, we empower you, embody you to, you know, you're a paying member, you know what I mean? Talk to us. What can we do to improve, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to go ahead and change things for that reason, but at least you give us the opportunity to try to course correct and try to see what we can do differently. And then, hey, we can even, you know, put some sort of thing out there where we might change things, you know, because that was the problem that I made. That was the mistake that I made, was I don't think I know everything, right? And I think that a lot of people have the ability to. I think everybody has the ability to bring something to the table, right? Even your 20-year-olds, and I'm just picking on them today because, you know, it's just easy to say, but everybody has something to bring to the table. And you know, like I know, when you start hitting a certain age, you kind of get alienated, right? When you hit that 40-year-old age, you know, upper 30s, it almost feels like you're getting alienated because, you know, we're so old compared to, you know, somebody that's 21, right? 23, right?
I'm not even going to talk to them because I already know what they're going to say.
Correct. So
they're going to shut me down.
Yeah. So sometimes we get kind of alienated in that space. So for me, I never wanted to put myself in a box and not understand what young people go through, right? I want to understand what young people go through. I want to understand where their mindset is. I want to understand the things that they're going through. Listen, and I'm going to go to bat for them. Our 20-year-olds and early 30-year-olds, man, and teens, man, they got kicked in the fucking teeth these past 4 or 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
You know, they went through some shit where, like, yo, bro, like, you were told to wear a mask. You were told you can't go outside and hang with your friends. You can't go to school. You can't graduate. You can't play sports. you got to stay isolated. Here, Zoom is the way you're going to work. Zoom is the way you're going to learn. You're not allowed to go hang out with your friends because you got to do social distancing. You know, I mean, destroyed the social aspect of our millennials and Gen Zers, man. Destroyed how they really had it worse than a lot of us have ever been through in that sense. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, you know, they had it worse in some of the things that we had to get through,
Right.
but it was tough, man. That was a tough fucking role to get through. And I think we forget that because we were all going through it as well. And it's so easy to say, you know, you kids don't know shit. And so I want to hear what you got to say. I want to know what you're going through. I want to understand what young people are and what's that society and that role is looking, because I want to foster those young people into becoming leaders later on down the road.
Yeah. And that whole, you know, these damn kids these days, the thing that's always annoyed. I mean, from the time I was a kid to now, it's like, you hate hearing it. It's like, well, which kids are you talking about? Yeah, because I can pull up a 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old that is just about as worthless in your opinion that you're talking about. Yeah. It's ridiculous because we've got a lot of people, a lot of younger people out there that are doing very well.
They also seem like they have, a lot of them, you know, that are doing very well seem to have a more practical, mature mindset with them, you know, and we did too. So it's this isn't nothing new. Like, this isn't something where, you know, these are the anomalies. Like, it's just the new times. But at the same token, as much as I wanted to hear from them, I gave them a little too much rope, you know what I mean? And they ended up hanging themselves. And they ended up putting themselves in a box, burning bridge, you know, quitting on themselves, losing credibility. Like, there's so many different scenarios that I've encountered in the past, you know, 10 years. But, you know, your culture is important, and understanding that not everybody wants to be led that way. Not everybody wants to be a leader. People say they want it, and they say they want to have, you know, this and have that, and show me the way. But when you get down to the brass tacks of things, you know what I mean? Not many people want that, and that's okay. But once you get their buy-in and find out what they really do want, what they really are motivated by, you know, other than the words they say, but you know, the actions and the reactions and the things that you see, then, you know, you can start getting them bought in. But I did make that mistake. And I think as gym owners, you know, you have to have that understanding, you know what I mean? You know, to be able to retain the students and get more people, because that's the one thing we do. We sign up a person every day. We literally sign up a person to our gym every single day. That's incredible. You know what I mean? Now you battle a 20 to 40% attrition, depending on what time of year it is. And you got the elements, like you said, with the college kids. But I think that the way you do that is just being able to continuously deliver value and continuously be in the know now of, you know, what I need to do to make you better and this culture better, you know? Another thing that I think that gym owners miss the mark on, right, is their marketing, dude. Like, their marketing is just so... It's just so like, oh man, I look at a lot of now let me back up. There's a lot of gyms that are doing really good with marketing. There's a handful of them that are doing really good. But the marketing that I see, man, you know what I mean? You know, especially here locally, it's just like so generic, so plain, so, you know, and it's like, I want to help these gyms so bad. Like, I want to help them so bad. And I 100% would, but, you know, at the same time, it's like, you got to learn it. You got to get in the game and things like that. But I was screaming this shit 10 years ago that you guys got to get on social media. You guys got to market yourself. You guys got to tell people about your gift and your craft. And
because it's not an overnight fix, if you will, either. I mean, it's like, it takes a little bit of time, but not as much time as it used to.
No, nowhere
it's
near.
Easier to, I mean, there's many more tools in place now.
Well, and a lot of the marketing now is so self-serving. So it's like, it looks cool to somebody, but when you know the role, when you know what's going on, it's like, geez, okay, coach, you want to be seen again, how great you are. Great job, coach. You know what I mean? And they leave out the fact that it's, you know, about the members and about people coming in. I mean, we've got some major things that we need to add to society to kind of bridge that gap of, you know, what went down in COVID and what went down with, you know, the lack of social skills and lack of social, you know, abilities that they had back then, on top of, you know, staying on the screens too much, being in the house too much, not understanding how to, you know, learning how to defend yourself. Like, we should be bringing so much more combat sports to so many different vehicles right now to help people, you know, get exposed to it, grow with it, become one with it, and then take an attitude, whatever they need to add to help their life improve.
Well, it's, the personal development and growth and all that too is, even if you get the marketing right and you drive so many people in there, if you don't have something that's going to keep them engaged and keep them progressing and that, again, that growth thing, that excuse me, the growth part of it, it's like they're going to disappear.
Yeah.
Because so many people are looking for that along with, or they might not even realize it till they get into it that, hey, this is something I needed just as much as I needed to learn how to defend myself.
I agree. And everybody's gym is different. How they run their gym and what their goals are, are all different. And that's okay. That's what it's supposed to be. Some gyms, they want to just compete and be the best in the world. And other gyms, man, they just, we get dubbed as being commercial. That's the funny thing that I've heard a couple of times, man, it's a commercial gym. Thank you. Thank you for that compliment. Because here's what people don't understand when they say that shit. We were not commercial. We were from the fucking mud. I had no rich uncles. I had no credit to get loans. I had nothing. I had nothing but just an ability to work hard and market myself. And some of the garages and some of the sheds and some of the home dojos and some of the attics and some of the things that I've trained in and had to make do, right? Like we really come from, the mud in all aspects of this business, and including how we even did front desk and took member care. Like we literally come from the mud. To say that we're commercial, thank you. We're still winning cage fights.
Right.
We're still winning. So, I mean, commercial or not, we're still getting in the cage and winning over there at stellar fights. And, so, I mean, whatever. But the fact of the matter is the fact that the reason why I think that's a compliment to me, because one, obviously if you've been in the SBY and you've dealt with our trainings and dealt with our coaches and dealt with me, we're nothing commercial about us. You know what I mean? We're, we're some degenerates that are just trying to not be degenerates, and as much as we're always degenerizing, right? But also on top of that, you know what I mean? When you think about where we come from and what we have now, well, guess what, motherfuckers? Guess who don't pay the bills? Fighters don't pay the bills on that lower level. If you got your bigger gyms out there that are named or reputable or in the, the biggest promotions like the UFC
Right.
and PFL and all those, and they're there all the time and they're all the other ones, and you have a fight gym and a reputation to have world-class fighters and multiple, that's a whole different conversation.
But most people don't just walk in there and say, sign me up. They've
Come
put
from
in
somewhere
time
else.
at another gym. Yeah.
Correct. That's a whole different conversation, right? For majority of your gym owners, majority of your gyms, we need to keep the lights on. We need to be able to make sure that we deliver on all fronts. So, as a business owner, as a gym owner, you have to be mindful of that. For us, we're strength in numbers. So, we got a lot of athletes, got a lot of kids that come through here. You know what I mean? Okay, cool. We build them up from the ground up. Or, you have 400 members that you have on the mats. Guess what? You're going to have, people that are going to want to fight. They're going to want to. They're going to have it. They're going to have that edge. They're going to have. I almost like discourage my guys and gals from fighting. Like, okay, like,
Do you really want to do this? Do you really know what you're getting into?
yo, most of these motherfuckers don't even know how to make money off of it. Like, I love the fighters. We talked about this before. I love the fighters that say this is their career, but yet they don't make any money. Like, and I'm not talking about like how most businesses are, where you put money into it to invest. They don't make nothing at all.
Right.
Like they're going in the red to fight. Like, what the fuck am I getting my brains beat in for? I'm not gonna sit here and do that shit for free. I never have, and I won't. And I won't teach our guys and gals to do that. On top of that, like, if you want to compete and you want to get in there and try your hand out, well, you need to have kind of like an idea of what you want to do on top of building a skill. Because here's the thing for us, right? And this is what we teach our guys and gals here. For us, okay, cool. Let me teach you how to market yourself, so you're not a slave to the contract you signed, because you provide value. Let me help you understand contracts and understand what your worth is. Let me help you also build a skill, because, once you do graduate from our gym and once you are able to go to another place, how the fuck are you going to pay for the membership? How are you going to pay for housing? You're not operating in the same space when you are completely desperate for how you eat every day. Now, on the flip side of that, there are your fighters and your athletes that will sit there and sleep in the gym, sleep on the couches, go from the trenches. I get and understand those athletes completely, right? But we're talking about a different caliber of human. We're talking about somebody that's not, usually generally not in college, usually generally, not, partying on the weekends or not doing life, not doing regular life. We're talking about somebody that's coming from a place where they understand that's what they want. They don't give a shit. They're going after it, and they're willing to couch surf, and they're willing to live under those conditions and do what they got to do to make money. But you still got to make an income somewhere.
Right.
You have to. So why not develop a skill in your hometown while you're training, developing your skills as far as combat sports, and then say, hey, I'm going to compete. I'm going to go for a run. And when I graduate this gym, I got a skill that I could take out any place I want to go and make some money and also be able to train.
Because, I mean, if you are fortunate enough to make it that far and become professional and you make a living at it, what do you do when that time's up? Because everybody's got a limited amount of time.
Yep.
I mean, it's not easy on your body. It's not easy on a lot of things. So what do you do? What's your plan after that?
Absolutely. And at the same time, I don't think most gym owners are saying and delivering that message, right? Like most gym owners are just saying, hey, let's go win a fight. Let's go train hard. Da, da, da. Okay, yes, that's a major part of it. But also, I'm not in the business to sit here and tell somebody's wife or mother or husband that they weren't ready, you know what I mean? And they got in the cage and now, they've got some permanent damage. That's what a lot of people forget about this game. This is not a pretty fucking game. This is a ugly game. We get it mixed up and confused because of the bonds and the relationships that we build inside of the gym. But when you're talking about combat sports, you're talking about MMA, mixed martial arts. This is not a pretty sport. This is a very, very it's the hurt business. You get fucking hurt. And people get hurt all the time. And they can't come back, even in jiu-jitsu, even in some of your other stuff. I mean, they had instances, God forbid, where, a guy broke his neck in training because a move was done and he wasn't prepared to land right. That stuff happens here. This is why you sign waivers. This is why you have insurance policies. This is why you're putting your life on the line.
To be clear, they didn't break their neck here.
No,
you said you have these things that happen.
Yes, I'm sorry.
The way it came out.
This made news. It was a gym out west in California, and it was awful, man. It was awful that what happened. And again, you're having these issues where, people just don't understand. If you want to fight, you want to get into that realm, then you need to be equipped and be ready to understand how you're going to build and pay for your life later on. Unless you're the one anomaly that's just all about it and you do whatever you got to do and you'll couch surf and all that. Great. That's great, but that's not the majority.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the majority.
Yep.
And everybody wants to go to the UFC, and rightfully so. However, that's not the majority either. They got to understand there's hundreds of millions of people fighting every day, training. There's millions of people that are actually competing and millions of people that are going to these gyms. That's not.
I mean, just think about all the smaller promotions. When I say smaller, like
thousands.
Like your stellar fights, what are some of the ones like what's Cagezilla's
247,
247,
Dead Serious.
I mean, there's so many of them, and they're all great for that. I mean, it's just like local bands playing on a local stage, local level, playing some smaller gigs, and then they really want to get on the big stage and open for the big the big headliner, right? Shogun stuff. So, and that's all. It's great, and it's great that these athletes, fighters, get that chance, right? But think of how many are doing it, and they all want to get to that next. They're all trying to get to the. I mean, how many are actually going to? It's like any other sport, right? I mean, how many that are actually make it to that level? Make it to the NBA, make it to the NFL.
I so agree with you, man. It's such a small number, and everybody.
I'm not saying don't try.
No. But everybody thinks that that's where they're going, and that's how they're going to do it. And it's just you got to be practical and realistic, and I think you have to set yourself up so that you position yourselves. And I just think a lot of coaches miss that, and that's a blind spot. I just think a lot of. I think that you struggle with having businessmen and visionaries and people that can see the future and predict, kind of understand how to lay it down, who get into the business that they think that you can just make X amount of money a month based upon memberships and expenses, and you're going to be set and it's going to be this easy, and they find out it's totally not. And then they don't understand anything about the business side, anything how to grow. I mean, we do really well, and we still are working on getting a substantial income, base. But at the same time, we've been reinvesting our money back into the gym over and over and over again, each quarter, each year, to make the product better, to make the experience better. And that's all really people want. And people want to have a good product, good experience, cleanliness. They want a clean gym.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we get reviews all the time how clean our gym is, you know what I mean? Which I didn't realize that was a thing, but evidently gyms don't clean themselves regularly until something happens where they get a breakout of MRSA or, you know, and that stuff can happen anywhere, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like we've battled it ourselves in the course of 10 years. You know, but you got to be a businessman understanding that game when you're opening your own business. It's just the cop out of saying, "Oh, I just like to teach jiu-jitsu and help people out," and not understanding business. It just doesn't make sense. Like, you know, one of the things that kill me is gyms will promote, you know, they have all these credentials and expertise, and you know, we have 5 black belts here at our gym, but you charge white belt prices. Like, that's the last and final thing. Stop giving away your product.
Yeah.
Like, you're giving away your product. Like, I don't understand any other industry where you'll say, "Hey, pay me whatever you can afford." Get the fuck out of here. Especially when you start talking about like what they call jiu-jitsu practitioners, a black belt. They call them professor, right? Because the time they have in is equivalent to a college professor or a doctor. But yet you're out here, you know, giving away your memberships. What? And then understanding why you can't grow. Like, and then, you know, you promote these things, like you have these higher level knowledge-based people, but yet you're charging, you know, generic Walmart prices.
Right.
Like you're killing the industry for everybody. And then when people go and experience what they experience for that, and then they experience what they experience with us, it's like, holy shit, this is why we pay more.
Mm-hmm.
But people are scared to ask for the sale. People are scared to ask for the value. I don't know why. I don't get it. But you must charge more. Like, it's just the way that it goes. The gym business is such a small profit margin based business, including regular gyms. Like, not even talking about combat sports. Combat sports is even worse. You should be charging more. You know what I mean? You should be charging more and providing more value as well. You know what I mean? See, I think a lot of times why people don't want to charge as much is because they know deep down that they don't provide a lot of value. They provide a lot of instruction, but business
or if you make that move, then you're going to have to actually prove that and live in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Business in 2025 is all about delivering value, right? Everything's went up. The fucking price of eggs have went up. Everything's went up. Gas has went up. Housing's went up. Income's not went up as much as all of these other things that have shot, you know, exponentially. And we're still out here charging what we charged 10 years ago. Doesn't make sense.
No.
Doesn't make sense at all. But, you know, those are a couple of the tidbits I think that people can get and do a little bit better when it comes to, you know, what you can do. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your gym does, what you think as a student, what you think as an owner. You know what I mean? Give us some feedback and let us know. You know, we can take in what you say and maybe talk about it on another Champ Talk. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you got to deliver value. You got to deliver value as a business owner, as a gym owner, as all the above. As a member, you got to deliver value. And pushing your product, telling people about you, delivering on all fronts, you know, being a business person and thinking about, you know, forward way of thinking is going to be the key to your success and the way that you grow your gym. I mean, we'll tap out over 550 members by the end of the year this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a crazy, crazy thing that, you know, and that comes with 450 problems, but, you know, at the same time,
so communication is key.
More money, more problems, right? Guys, that'll do it for this episode of Champ Talk. I appreciate you guys listening. You know, good to have Chet back in the saddle again and sitting here sharing space with us. Again, guys, if you got value out of this or you know somebody that would or could get some help, please like, subscribe, share this episode, give us a review, tell us what you think about it. Because like always, we appreciate you listening and just, you know, thank you so much for being loyal followers and loyal listeners. But that'll wrap us up. What are you doing today to become a champion?